it's going to be quite difficult. If we keep it rolling, but it's quite difficult considering we've just spoke about syphilis. So, welcome to the Half Guard podcast. This is episode 1. We're going to give this a bash, see how far we get with it. So, my name's Rhys Whitehouse. I'm here with George Pearson. Looking forward to obviously seeing where this goes. Proudly in association with Mataki Scissors and Stylebook Directory. We'll provide the links for both of those below. So yeah, George.
Hello.
Hello, mate. How's your weekend?
Yeah, good.
Yeah. What'd you get up to?
I was with you.
You were with me. That's the thing. Yeah. So yesterday we did a little bit of a shoot. George shot some behind the scenes. We did a shoot with Paul and Sarah from Happy Jack. I love working with those guys. They're really, really professional, really, really good at what they do. So that was for the front cover of Modern Barber magazine.
He's being very modest. It's because he has just won British Barber of the Year with Paul's Series. From Paul in my head now.
No, Pro-Barber World Series. Thank you very much.
There you go.
So yeah, so that's a whole little. No, it was really cool. That it's really, really what an honour. Because I entered last year. And I was fortunate enough to be a finalist last year.
So when you say you entered, how did you enter? What did you have to do to enter?
Oh, that was an online one, because obviously in 2021, I'm just going to keep dropping bombs here. In 2021, I Can't Stop, Won't Stop. I won Wahl British Barber of the Year.
May have heard.
2021. So I don't really like to stop the ball rolling. So Pro-Barber World Series was like an online, more like an online competition, but it's also an international one as well. So I was quite looking forward to getting involved with that, because the judges that were involved in it. So you had like Colin from Hard Grind, and obviously Dean, who won last year, and a couple of others. Forgive me, cannot remember the names. But that's really cool to sort of have like the accreditation from them and all that. So
is that why you do it?
This got deep really, really quick. I don't know. Why do I do it? Fucking hell, George.
This is what the people want to know.
I know. Well,
oh no, it's not. It's because I want to fucking know.
Do you know what? I really hate downtime.
Yeah, just keep busy. Yeah. Keep focused into the future.
I mean, the thing is, as soon as you start kind of going, okay, well that'll do, that's enough. Then I don't know. Like I think after I had my little one, I've known a lot of
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. I've known a lot of barbers to be really sort of like, you know, keep that train running, and they're going and they're pushing out content. And then obviously when a kid comes along, that obviously takes priority. So I didn't want him to not be the priority. But
awkward.
But
like Kenny in 18 years.
God, if he's listening to a podcast that I did 18 years ago, he'd be like, dude, go out and get a job. So it was more the case of I just didn't want to stop the train rolling. No idea what I'm doing next year, but I think we've both agreed that we want to do the BHAs, which I'm going to pressure you into, aren't I, George?
Yep, I need pressuring. Yeah. That's my problem. And that's why, I don't know, sometimes I just have so much overthinking about these competitions and stuff that actually...
I think that's a problem, though. You can't overthink your entries. Like, I didn't necessarily, because I entered it last year with Paul. That's how I got, obviously, to know Paul and whatnot. He reached out, was like, I'd like to work with you on this. And I was like, yeah, cool,
Absolute legend.
He's amazing. And what a guy. And he's from the Black Country. Love that. What did he say yesterday? He said something was moving. It was like, can you move that? Or so? Oh, I don't know. It was absolutely hilarious. Absolutely hilarious.
Just alienated about 20% of the population.
Yeah, well, to be fair, it's... BHAs are something that I definitely want to do, and I definitely want you to do it as well. George is an interesting character, because how most barbers will think, okay, yeah, skin fades. George looks, well, you look at like...
I like shapes.
You like shapes and fashion as well.
I like lamp.
It was really interesting. I like lamp.
I like lamp.
As soon as you started working with us here at Hinces in Shrewsbury.
18 months ago?
something like that. I remember being weirded out because like the not weirded out, it's the wrong word, but like on the TV we'd normally
Aroused.
have aroused. That's it. I was instantly erect. No, yeah. So all of a sudden the 6'9" guy comes in, very, very quiet. You were really quiet back then.
Don't say it as if it's like, oh, they were the days.
No, but like, yeah. Then you'd come in, and you put the TV on, and you put like catwalks on, and instantly I was like, oh. That's interesting. And it was just interesting. It's interesting to see a barber that's not, well, hair professional, sorry, because you're also trained in women's hair. 15 years, Italian guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't talk about that.
Okay, scratch
it's really
that off
weird.
the topic list.
It's really weird. When I tell people about, like, like your past, I don't tell many people, but the ones that ask, I always start 4 years ago. It's like I was baptised. I start in my barbering career, so I always tell people 4 years barbering.
I suppose the thing is when people are sitting in your chair and they come to a barber shop and they say, how long have you been barbering? You can be very literal with that.
Yeah, but I just, very much in the past, you wouldn't really talk about the hair.
Yeah.
Whereas now, I've kind of had to teach myself to be proud of being a hairdresser before barber.
Yeah, that's straight
Whereas
up.
now, like, we're looking for a barber for the shop. Being a hairdresser before would put you above the others straight away in your CV.
I'd say so, yeah. I'd say so.
Life. Are you allowed to do that kind of stuff anymore? I don't
know.
I don't know.
What have prejudice?
Yeah,
straight up. If someone's
I'm so scared to say stuff on this podcast. You do not.
No, 100%. Yeah, I'm not being funny. If someone comes in and says, yeah, I got 1 year's barbering experience, or someone comes in and says, yeah, I got 15 years hairdressing experience, you're going to be like, okay, well,
yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It's almost the same as somebody coming in with tattoos and somebody coming out with it. You just instantly think they'll see the floor.
What do you mean?
Well, you know, like
just for context, I've got a lot, and so does George.
I don't know. I've got 8.
You've got 8.
Yeah, I don't know. I suddenly had to count in my head how many tattoos.
You did that really quick as well.
Yeah, I just started at the feet and worked up. But
anyway,
we're digressing. I nearly said diluting.
Is that still recording?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Sadly.
I can't even remember what about. Sorry, we got to
I don't know.
I don't know why I was offended.
Let's scroll back. Okay,
well,
so
only 15 years.
Yes, hairdressing, barbering. I think it's a whole different world now with barbering. That you need long hair experience.
Okay.
I think. Also, I was talking about this the other day to somebody that being a good barber is literally your foot in the door. I think everybody's a good barber. Everybody's really an incredible barber. Techniques, everything's at hand these days. I think it's those 1% that makes such a difference.
Yeah, and I think the thing is about, like, obviously, I don't know. I think as far as barbering generally goes, a lot of the sort of face value of it is, okay, cool, clippers. You always get asked the same thing when you first start, zero gapping and whatnot.
I was gonna say,
oh man,
how long are your scissors?
How long are your scissors? And well, I think when people, this is a good little segue into Mataki actually, because I'm going to be teaching Project Men in Hull for Mataki with Dale on the 21st of November. And one of the things that we want to really specifically focus on is the benefits of having different size scissors. So like you've got so I use a 6.5, so I've got the Black Ninjas and the Aribas in a 6.5. I like the Black Ninjas, to be honest, because they've got a little bit of a sharper point and they're sort of ergonomically designed as well. So there's a little knob on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's a little knob on it that I really like.
Whereabouts?
On the blade, on the outside of the blade.
Oh, okay.
All their blades are like convex.
Yep.
Yeah, convex. So they're like super sharp. They I mean, don't get me wrong, it makes them a little bit more delicate, but it's Japanese steel, so it's not that delicate. And if they're covered in chips,
Japanese folded steel is amazing because the grains come down. I was going to go off on one.
No, by all means.
It's your moment, not mine.
Well, just the different sizes of scissors, and I think that's something that barbers quite often overlook. You know, I remember when you were in your old shop, and I came in and did a
look and learn.
Well, yeah, like a workshop thing, didn't I, with you guys? And I remember the scissors were just I think there was one pair of Matakis that were floating around. I think they used to do a scissor called the Black Sabbath. I want them to redo that scissor because it's an awesome name. But yeah, no, there was like one pair of Matakis going around, and it was almost like they were being shared. And then the other ones, which were like just eBay scissors. And I think barbers assume that, well, some hairdressers as well, I'd imagine, that like one scissor does all, but it just doesn't.
Well, the baffling thing is, you've got a barber section, you've got 3 clippers, all one for fade, one for your bulk, one thing, and then one pair of scissors. Why are we not seeing scissors in the same way as we're seeing clippers?
What I find,
you need a plethora of everything.
Yeah, what I find really interesting is like some of my clients now, I mean, not recently, but like back when I started getting more than one pair of clippers, and they were sort of fluttering between different barbers, they would find that if they walked into a barber's and they were just using one pair of clippers, they'd be instantly sort of taken back. They probably would have less confidence in them. But that's not to say that I didn't do it, because I did. When you first start out in the career, you do just have that one pair of clippers. Mine were a corded pair of Legends. I remember I got those in when I was doing my apprenticeship, actually, because I couldn't get to grips with because I did my apprenticeship in a hair salon in Shrewsbury, which was like, I found myself just doing a lot of blowouts on old ladies, to be honest.
I'm so worried what you were saying. We've all got to get up that ladder somehow.
I sucked my way to the top.
But that's important. Styling. I think that's a massive weak point in barbering as well. But sticking with the scissors, definitely different sizes. I know I'm mocked about that's the first question, and everybody.
Because you've got massive hands, George. That's why.
There's a lot of things that come into kind of. I know when I pick up a pair of scissors, first thing I look at is balance and size. Granted, different sizes: 7-inch, good for scissor over comb; 5.5, good for point cutting, personalising, texturising. Like this is why you need different size scissors. I forgot where I was going.
No, do you know what? Actually, there's a new pair of thinners that have just sort of come out that Mataki do, which are, I think they're called Sharks, and they're 45-degree angle with a really thick, they're just like really thick teeth on them. And when we were at Sal International and I was working the Mataki stand, I think it was either Alex or Lucas from Mataki, bless him, or it might have been Emma. I'm not sure. One of them anyway. They said, "Oh, Rhys, can you just as a barber, can you explain the difference with these?" Thankfully, I knew a little bit about them, but I'd never used them. And I know they're good for like thick hair, and I know they're good for like curly hair especially. But I've never used them. I really want to have a go, but it looks so intimidating.
This is the thing that people don't realise as well, is that texturisers are different.
Yeah.
Different thickness of teeth is dependent on how much percentage hair takes off. From 30% of I'm pretty sure there's some dodgy pairs that probably take about 50% off and just bash the shit out of them. And whether you can slice through them as well, down to the angle of between the teeth.
I think the one thing as well in the industry that I don't like what they do at the start of like your career, because at the start of your career, this is going to go into scissors, by the way. At the start of your career, you're fed a lot of information from Instagram. Well, I was anyway.
Yeah.
But you hear people like the pissed off barber and all that. He's hilarious, but then they had this whole culture of bash it with the thinners, which I think put people off using thinners.
Definitely.
And the problem with these things, is if they're not used correctly. And I think that's understanding the difference between a fade blade and a taper blade, for example. That I've just got a new pair of Wahl Chrome 2 style. It's one big word, but long story short, I'm going to put a texture blade on it because
this is Wahl-Barber on the edge.
Yeah, and part of the Wahl artistic team. I'm like, yes, it's that one that they've got. Yeah, Simon was on the box. Yeah, no, that's really interesting, because I watched actually in Barnsley last year, I think. I went up and did a thing for Project Man again, and I watched Simon do a cut just using these clippers and this texture blade, and he did like a long shaggy hair on a doll's head. He was grabbing and he was going away and he was doing his flick and smack thing, and do you know what? I wanted that blade there and then. I was like, I don't need thinners now. That's absolutely sick. And you look at it and you think, shit, there's so much texture in that. And he's just done a full long cut just using clippers. So there's like a million and one ways to skin a cat.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then, yeah, it's the same with everything, though, isn't it? Like combs, that's a huge difference as well.
Yeah.
People don't understand the difference in combs. You know, I've been using a Denman cutting comb since day one. What do you use?
I used YSK.
Oh, YS Park.
Yeah, that's it. I was just thinking of the lube. What? KY.
I use KY jelly.
Anyway,
I like to keep sleek.
I think the big thing that you were saying is just do it with purpose. If you're going to pick up the textures, have a reason why you're using them there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, a lot of the time people just use it to sort of knock out weight lines, and I think that's a lot of that can be solved in the over or under direction of your graduation. So again, that's you're choosing your right scissor for that as well. You know what I mean? Like I've started trying to use the 6-inch rather than the 6.5s for my graduation, but it's again I find that's less about the scissor and more about the under or over direction.
Yeah.
But I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, there's nothing wrong with the cut I just did literally just before recording this. I used the thinners on the weight line, not completely. But he's got super thick hair, super straight.
Yeah.
So you can use it. I just think there's such an abundance of misinformation and trains of just toxic thought. So like everyone.
I think it's difficult as well. After lockdown, every Jack and Son. Started doing educational videos, and it can be just too much. And then sometimes, if you watch too much, you listen to half of this and half that, and before you know it, you've got a Joey Trifle.
Our friends, yeah. What did he have in it? Beef and whatnot.
Beef and the trifle.
Yeah,
Joey Trifle. I would.
Jumbo Moo Point.
No.
Yeah, on Friends, he was like, it's a moo point. It's like it's moo. Do you remember, like when it doesn't matter? It's like, oh, it's moo. Mate, it was well good.
No.
Everyone says Friends isn't funny, but I actually found it a really enjoyable watch because I was born in the 90s.
But 90s.
Oh, well, yeah. I'm not going to talk about your age, George. But if my 15 years at Tony and Guy has anything to say, and then 4 years in
fine wine, my friend. Fine wine.
But no, so like I feel like, especially with like lots of new clipper companies coming out, it's great that people have the ability to go out and create their own brands. I necessarily don't think that the culture around barbering has enough information about what these clippers or what these scissors or what these combs, etc., do. Like, you know, when I'm off teaching classes or like doing workshops or whatever, like even just down to the spray, like the mister, I love that thing. And I think I first saw, I think it was Alan Beak using one of those. I will not answer my phone. Unfortunately, whoever's calling me is going to have to wait. But it's do you get those ones where they call you up and like it's a mobile number and they go, "Hello, your number is currently or whatever,
yeah,
that sort of shit." Oh, I fucking hate it, man. I hate it. I always think it's something important, but it's not. Anyway,
like this chap.
But yeah, so I saw Alan Beak using one, and it was almost like, "What's that?" But was it because I was a young barber watching Alan Beak using something? Or was it that I saw the benefits of it? I don't know. Do you know what I mean? I don't know, but all I know is I've used it since.
Yeah.
There is benefits to using it now that I know that I've got it, but I think that shows you, just even that small insight shows you the power of influence. Especially someone, you know, as influential as Alan Beak, or, you know, you look at Bird Mina or Arod, they've got such influence in the industry that, like, it's great, but then you look at companies that are just kicking out clippers and they're not really thinking about it, and you sit there and you go, you're selling this to necessarily a majority market that don't really know what they're buying other than a brand.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing, like, especially on the back of the box, you know, they'll say things like, "Oh, click lever," or like this, that, and the other. And I remember actually I went into B&M the other day, and there was just this little clipper set, right? This little clipper set, and I was laughing at it, and I was like, "Oh, you're not professional." But I was looking at it, and like, you know, on the front of most of these boxes, they say like their main sort of selling points. I think one of them was an on-off button.
Amazing.
I was like, "Oh!" I mean, I've needed one of those because my clippers are always on. But yeah, no. What's
Just
your...
thinking about those boxes, I bet nowadays those are probably more powerful than super tapers back in the day.
Oh god, yeah. Like, I think the difference between the motors now is there's obviously magnetic and rotary, isn't there?
Mm-hmm.
So,
and the others, it's just technology's moving too fast.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. You've like the new Wahl Legends. They've got extended taper blade. I absolutely love that. It's something that you just didn't realise you needed until you had it there. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I love a premium guard. I absolutely love the premium guards. But even putting on their sort of, I think actually, do the premium guards come with it? Because I bought you a pair of Legends, didn't I?
Oh yes.
Yeah, I did.
I can't remember. No, you definitely did. I just can't remember if the premium guards came with them.
I'm assuming they did. I don't know.
I know.
Every couple of weeks you go.
We're going to bring it up here. I've got a thing, and I don't even zero guard my clippers, but 0.5s just don't last.
Really?
I get 3 months out of one before the teeth snap.
That's weird.
Yeah, maybe I've just heavy-handed.
I think I just collect half guards now for you to have. And do you know what? Yesterday,
if anybody sponsorship deals,
George needs half guards.
I do half guards,
but only the premium ones. But no, like yesterday, I was going through my drawers because I thought, I'd turn up early for the photo shoot. I thought I'll have a clean out, and I went through. You obviously, I've got that big box of just
guards.
Just guards, yeah. I went through it, and the amount of like 7s, 8s, 6s that I had that just still had the sticker on them, and I thought, why am I keeping these? I like the ones I use, I barely use. I mean, how often do you use an 8 guard?
Never.
Replies in horse.
My fingers are shallower than an 8 guard.
Yeah, well, that's it. But that's what a lot of people don't. Again, misinformation. What people don't realise is that I think anything up from a 4 is maybe a 5.
Yeah, I have half to a 2 on my section. That'll do, and then I'll move into the scissors.
Yeah, I think as far as it goes, I've got out half to a 2.
Maybe a 3 just to kind of knock it out. Yeah. But don't bin them, because the plastic will go into landfills, and that's bad.
Thanks for that. Let's talk a little bit about Stylebook Directory, one of our associates.
That's a smooth link.
That was. Very smooth. But yeah, no, Stylebook has been a really fantastic addition. That's something that George and myself, we became ambassadors for last year. Was it this year?
Sarah came into our lives last year. Yeah.
Was it? Because I know I've been talking to Sarah for about a year. Was it Barbershop was the first time we worked with her? Yeah. So, what year are we in? It was this year, wasn't it?
2023.
No, that's next year.
No. Oh, is it?
Oh shit.
Oh, we're old. Anyway, funny story how I came about talking to Sarah, because we were predominantly going to work for Stylebook at
Salon.
No, it wasn't Salon, it was Barber
Connect.
Barber Connect.
That's it, yeah.
And I had my model booked, and as everybody's been through, my model let me down the last minute. Well, I say let me down, he just didn't make it. So I thought, that's all right. I kind of knew you'd get these vibes.
Yeah. If they don't,
Youth of today.
They're always busy with their TikToks.
So I had a backup one. So I rang up my backup model, who just did not answer until 10 minutes after I gave up on her. It was a female. And then she's like, I'm sorry, I'm hungover and overslept. Youth.
That's what you want for a model.
So I turned up. Eyes. Yeah, so I turned up. We had a pre-meeting, I'll call it, but really breakfast at Mackey's, to the team, just looking stressed, very panicky. I don't have a model. I had 2 lined up.
Oh shit, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, nearly in tears. And then the lovely Sarah came into my life.
That's when Dale started panicking, because you'd have a model as well, didn't
you? Yeah. Do we bring up the autism? the path changed, and that couldn't cope. So I ended up cutting Sarah's hair, and then she was lovely.
She's very passionate. I have a lot of time for that.
What a great concept Stylebook is as well. So should we explain what Stylebook actually is? So Stylebook is an online directory for hairdressers. So let's take, for example, if you move into a new town, you want to find your hairdresser. It's very well finding a shop, but as people know, the variety of talent and just type of person in that shop can be very different.
Yeah.
So that's why I like Stylebook. I like the fact that you can find your hairdresser, you can see their work, you can see what they're all about, a bit of a CV on there.
Yeah.
And then you can go to them.
And then you can go there.
I don't know what else you really
straight
need.
up. No, it's a really cool concept, and I think what attracted me most to the idea of it is, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's been other, there's been other things which are a similar concept, but I think when you factor in passion as well, like Sarah's so passionate about her brand and what she wants to do with it, and she invests so much into it. And I remember I did Barber Connect for her. Well, we all did Barber Connect for her. But she then sent us.
That has been what I've just been talking
about. Yeah, I know.
For the last 10 minutes.
yeah. All right. But yeah, she sent us all like a huge box of chocolates, didn't she? And I think she ended up buying my son a pair of Doc Martens. Yeah, mad that he just about fits in them now.
That's why you need kids, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, just for free Doc Martens. Thank you very much. I'll sponsor your brand, and then you can give my child some shoes. But yeah, no, he's. She's got a real cool concept there, and what she's doing some mad things with it now. She's got Stylebook Education too, which is an amazing platform which hasn't been done before, which highlights educators because she works with a lot of colleges. So myself, for example.
Oh, okay. So yeah.
So like myself, for example, I've got a profile on there. So should she? I don't know. She works quite often with Newcastle College, so she'll go there and basically, depending on the course, she'll be like, "Oh, have you heard about this person?" and then direct them to that, which I think is an amazing concept because no one ever does that. A lot of people want to be educators, and there's a lot of factors to that. Like, I'm just dipping my toe in it. Do you know, I'm just dipping my toe in it at the minute. Like, I've spoken to the college as well in Shrewsbury about doing various courses and almost like legitimizing it, because I think there is a difference between educators and peer educators.
Yeah,
which is something actually that Emma from Ataki coined with me, and I completely agree on, because I'm not a qualified educator, but I got a lot to say. Do you know what I mean? I've got a lot of I've got like a lot of knowledge to pass on, and I find that quite well. I think that's probably one of the most enjoyable parts of the job. Yeah. I find it enjoyable when for example, it's when I was teaching you in the shop that you were in before, and I was focused on you solely because you were the one that gave a shit. And I think that's it. I think passion attracts passion.
Well, I ain't got a comment about that
one. No, but yeah, I think passion attracts passion. I think you gravitate towards passion. So I think that's what I saw in Sarah. I saw a lot of passion. It's the same with when you talk to Emma from Ataki. She's so passionate about her brand. Her and James, and even the guys that work for him, like Lucas and Alex. Like, they're both such. Well, all four of them, and Lee, to be fair. Lee's a bit of a lad, isn't he? Lee's a bit of a lad. But yeah, he's they're all so passionate about the brand, and it's amazing, to be fair. It's absolutely amazing. And I think that's something that you only really see that in the industry through integrity and through time. Because the problem is, if you're chasing brands just to be ambassadors for them or just to get reposts for them, you're compromising your integrity. You're compromising your work. You're compromising your integrity for the sake of, small sponsorships.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing that I've turned down people before just because it wasn't the fact that
this is also the thing that people are so busy chasing ambassadorship that actually a true ambassadorship comes to you.
Yeah, 100%.
Just be real, be you. That's what people want. I think I've done a lot of courses, and first question that anybody who's an ambassador gets asked is, how did you become an ambassador?
Yeah.
And grit, hard work, posting, but just being real. That's what people want to see, because you can smell bullshit.
Yeah, you can. In this industry, you can smell bullshit a mile off, can't you?
Yeah.
You can see when people aren't being sincere. And like, that is so present through Instagram. So present through Instagram. But you can also see when people genuinely want to help each other. And that's rare as well. Like, I find that really rare, because everyone sort of wants that platform. Everyone sort of wants to chase that.
I think if you look at the big boys like Josh OP, like yourself, They're kind of. I know. I felt. I had to.
You felt awful.
But they're there because they are openly wanting to help people. They want to bring the industry. Alan Beak, listen to these people talk. They want to grow the industry around them.
I loved Alan Beak's podcast.
Yeah,
I love that.
Hence the reason we're having a chitty chat.
Well, that's it. You got me into that, didn't you? You said, "Have you heard this?" I didn't even know he was doing one. I was just sort of tuning into his Instagram every morning for those motivational speeches before he jumped in a pool of water.
Yeah, I might do a podcast. I ain't jumping in.
No way. But yeah, sorry, little Dr. Pepper break. I'd love an endorsement from Dr. Pepper. If I just drank
He's currently drinking a 1 litre bottle.
It's not 1 litre, this is 2 litres.
Oh, sorry, 1 litre of sugar and 2 litres of Dr. Pepper.
2 litres of flavour. But no, yeah, so I do feel like, especially nowadays, if I could, a lot of people say to you, like, oh, if you can go back and tell yourself, that's a good question, George. If you can go back and tell yourself one thing at the start of your career, not necessarily to fast track you, but to sort of skip out disappointment and bullshit, what would you tell yourself?
Oh, probably just not go round to my uncle's house to that weekend.
Ooh, slippery memories. Now we're back to KY jelly.
Any sponsorships?
Please,
the one thing I would tell myself at the beginning: just have faith in yourself.
Yeah.
Do it for you and your chair.
Yeah, well, absolutely. You can lose a lot of.
I think
you can lose a lot of time and gain a lot of grey hairs worrying about yourself, though, can't you?
Oh gosh.
Comparing yourself. That's one thing Lee Hanford says a lot. He goes, don't compare yourself to others because everyone is individual. How many times have I said this about this being subjective?
Just because you call me special doesn't mean.
I'm like, oh bless, you tried. No,
but, special.
No, like this is, it's an art form, isn't it? It's a subjective. It's a subjective field.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what I'm interested to do, especially with this podcast, because the idea behind the podcast is it's probably going to be me and George for a majority of it, but we are going to try our best to sort of get in, guest speakers and whatnot, and it'd be good to get their opinion on a lot of what's going on in the industry. Like I spoke to Emma before, and she I spoke to her about the fact that obviously we're recording the pilot. Excuse me. Oh, there it is again. And she said about like rising costs in like energy costs.
Yeah.
There was, we spoke to Paul yesterday, and he said just
so many shops are going to be struggling. Already seeing little independent one-man shops.
He said what? You paid $1,000 in just electric last week, last month. Ridiculous.
I know at home. I said before, but
yeah,
doubled before I've even switched on the heating.
Are you on a flat rate or a variable?
Yeah.
I just set it up.
I'm on a direct debit. That's all I know.
Yeah, that's it. And when letters come through, you go, it's too many words.
That's it. If it's not brown, I don't care.
There's no pictures in this. Yeah, but no, it's going up, and it is obviously a source of anxiety for a lot of people. But thankfully, we're in an industry that is always going to be a necessity. Unless, obviously, we go back to the 60s and everyone wants to start growing their hair again. Yeah. In which case, then...
I think it will change the fact that already I'm noticing people are dragging out a haircut a little bit longer.
Not me.
Well, I'm sure there's a conspiracy theory. Barbers want to keep the skin fade purely because it's a weekly trim.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Like, there's... God, yeah. Like, there's always this... I don't know whether you see these forums, like on Facebook, like Planet Barber and all that sort of stuff. I think I had to come off them a lot because it's always the same things. It's always people who's been doing it for like 50, 60 years, complaining about the fact that people still want skin fades. Skin fades have been around since the 1920s. They were like in America, they were really like coined in the 1920s. Do you remember that book that I got? That little
the barber book.
Yeah, the sort of history of barbering. That was really interesting, actually. That like crops, we think crops in the UK are a new thing. No, they've been around since Italian cinema with like Ben-Hur and Spartacus and all that. I thought that was amazing. The fact that that's why it's called a Caesar.
Mm-hmm.
But no, but they've been around for a long, long time, and I don't think they're going to go anywhere. No. Tapers are coming in a lot more.
Yep.
And I love them. I love that, to be honest. You see people like Sean the Barber or Paul Barber Code.
Yeah.
They knock out some mad tapers. And Joe Cartmel, to be honest.
I love a taper.
Yeah, I love a taper.
This is when you know the difference in styles, because I like a style that you can look back at in 20 years and still be not current, just be cool. I'm so glad Facebook wasn't around when I was a kid. Like some of the things that I was doing to my hair.
I've seen some of the pictures, George. You had that strong goatee going on for a while.
I'm amazed people weren't moving their kids away from
You're
me.
like Guy Fieri. Is that how you say his name? Fieri. You know what I'm on about?
No.
Was it Paul Fieri?
I'm thinking of a boxer.
I'm thinking of either that guy that wears flame shirts in America or Paul Hollywood, aren't I?
Yeah.
Paul Hollywood does look a lot
That's
like Guy Fieri.
Love child.
That is a love child, isn't it? No, but yeah, I think as far as it goes, it's these energy costs are just gonna. Well, I don't know. Something's got to give. Something's got to give, hasn't it?
Oh yeah, but we won't go into politics on this show today. A bit heavy for the first episode.
I don't know. What did you ask me earlier that was like super heavy? Oh, I can't remember. Anyway,
this morning.
Let's go into BHAs. What are you thinking? Are you going to do long hair? Are you going to?
Oh yeah, my style's all long hair. Christ, we only spoke about it last night, so I haven't really made.
You know how it worked. 4 o'clock this morning, I was thinking, like, what models am I going to do? You know what I mean?
I need to make a mood board.
Are you thought about just doing wigs? Because you can enter wigs. Like, not just wigs, obviously put it on a model.
I don't like working with wigs, though, as long as they're real hair and all that thing, but growth patterns, they just don't sit properly. Yeah. You've got to use your texturers, your razors.
Razors.
I don't know, definitely work with real hair.
Yeah.
Maybe get some kind of
I think that's
gender-neutral people in, so I can go a bit more androgynous with it, some longer. I don't like to reveal too many secrets.
I love the fact you just used the word androgynous. You used it so well. I don't think I didn't overlook that. Androgynous.
Just because I say a 3-syllable word, don't mean to be mind blown.
Usually you hiccup over the simplest words and you just drop in androgynous. Oh man.
What's your thoughts?
What for BHAs?
B&H.
B&H. Well, I used to prefer Sterling. Yeah. Was that B&H? Was that B&H that was that shop?
Yeah, and then Phil Greenwood. Is that the chap who was really dodgy?
I don't know. Did he own Topshop as well?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dodgy guy. Yeah, dodgy guy. Bad dude. Got found out on his yacht or some shit like that. I remember. Oh, whatever. But I think I entered, obviously, this last year. I entered the last one anyway.
Didn't get Intrinsic collection.
Oh yes, the Intrinsic 22 collection.
Where did that name come from?
I was struggling for names because.
So hard.
Oh my god, yeah, so hard. But like, for a long time, well, I was just doing a shoot. I didn't really think anything of it, to be honest. Like, obviously, this was my first time entering, so I didn't really know the sort of nuances of the ins and outs of doing everything. This was very much me dipping my toe in the water, and I was mentored a lot by Paul on it as well, which obviously super grateful for because once again, Paul's a fucking great guy. But yeah, no, I wanted to use my clients, one, because I couldn't afford models. I couldn't afford. And it's so expensive, man. And some models you have to pay for how much hair you cut off.
Yeah, by the inch.
Yeah, mad that.
Yeah, but if you think that can change their career, if you've got some long hair, I was going to say pretty, but they'd still be pretty with short hair. I really appreciate how you're trying to be really quiet, taking some water out of the fridge and pouring it in. as if people are going to tune off and going, no, don't like that. Well, I don't want to bash and clang. Get my healthy filtered water out.
I was going to say, with my 2 litres of sugar. That's what keeps me going, that does. After this, I'm going to go, right, next one. But no, like I obviously just used some of my clients in it who have not necessarily unique styles, but I knew I could get a very good like silhouette out of them. I knew the fade was going to be quite easy. I think they were
I like shapes.
I like shapes. I think I was just going to get a good image out of them because I've obviously used them as a model in the shop before. Oh, what was that? I've just not. Oh. So it was more like that, and obviously Paul did a great job with them, and we were quite confident with it, to be honest. But then going around Sun International, looking at the entries, like you got like the likes of like Kevin Lutchman and that. I was like, oh my god, I was completely out of my depth.
Once again, talent is incredible in this industry.
Yeah, just mad, isn't it? Because that's like when you dip your toe. Okay, it's all well and good being like cool Wild British Barber of the Year and Pro-Barber World Series Barber of the Year and all that. But when you take the word barber out of it and you put men's hairstylist in there, suddenly, fuck, I'm like, shit, this is heavy. I'm out of my depth here because all of a sudden I've got the. I think there's a I have the technical capability, but like the vision is completely different. It's like.
Do you think that's a difference between hairdressers and barbers?
That's a good question. Well, it's a different skill set.
Yeah.
It is a different skill set. But yeah, absolutely, the vision would be different, wouldn't it? Like if this being predominantly a barbershop, but obviously we've taken the name Barber out of it because we like to be a bit more inclusive, and obviously we do women and men. But I think we have to be very. It's difficult to word it, isn't it? So like, for example, if a woman sat in my chair, I'd be very much out of my depth, whereas you wouldn't.
No.
Do you know what I mean? So like, I think vision may be the wrong term. I mean, I think understanding shape is a bit better. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think. See, we were chatting about this as well, about Instagram and how I worry a lot more about the image than the actual.
But you're a photographer, though, aren't you? So like your image is that's means more to you than most.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So you're going to look at a composition of something. I remember the other day you uploaded a really cool picture. You did like long shaggy hair, and the pictures were absolutely fantastic. And you almost didn't upload it because there was a single hair falling over their eyebrow.
I know. I still see it. Comes up me at night.
But you know what? Like if you hadn't told me, I wouldn't have seen it. Like straight up, I just wouldn't have seen it.
Yeah. It's the difficulty, isn't it? You want to be critical about your work, but then you don't want to take it to the point that you're not posting.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's another thing that brands look for is consistency, because ultimately, come on, you said androgynous. You can say consistency.
Consistency is the biggest word to get anywhere in this.
I can say.
It's the most important thing in this industry. I think clients want it, companies want it.
Yeah. No, absolutely, yeah. Because as far as it goes, like people will notice you if you're loud. Some of the biggest names in the industry, some of the absolute biggest names aren't, and they'll openly admit this. This is me paraphrasing, and I'm not going to drop names, obviously, but like they've said, I'm not the best in the industry, but I'm happy to be doing this. Do you know what I mean? So their consistency and the fact that they're loud, rather than the fact that they're saying, "Oh, I'm better than so and so and this and that and the other." And I think that's interesting because
loud with purpose. So.
Yeah, loud with purpose, absolutely. Yeah. So that's what I find a lot of brands will look at. They'll see consistent because ultimately they're trying to sell products. They're trying to sell a product. So if you're present and consistent through your uploads, through your activity, like what you're doing, this, that, and the other, they're going to want to be like, oh shit, that train's moving fast. I want to be on that train.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? I think that's why I try and, you say to me often, you don't switch off. And recently, just for context, George has had to sort of sit there and say, like, the whole 10-minute meditation thing, because I do not switch off. I do not switch off. Like, even, I think, what was it? So, Kennedy woke up, that's my son. Kennedy woke up at 5 o'clock this morning, something like 5 o'clock this morning. And I probably could have got back to sleep. Probably could have. Didn't. As soon as I'm awake at that time of night, I'm thinking, okay, cool. Now that there's American audiences, there's that sort of, what's the word? Well, audience. That's
yeah.
What's the word? It begins with an I.
I.
Yeah.
For audience.
No. Like integration. No. Never mind. It'll come back to me. And do you know what? It'll come back to me in about a week's time.
Put it in the link below. I think that's what they say.
Yeah. But I always think like, okay, cool. I could be posting this, I could be posting that, and I could be, tagging this because that's the thing. The brands that I'm representing, I want to represent them. I don't want to represent them just for that one Instagram post to be like, oh yeah, cool. I'm going to put that in my bio. I want to be constantly posting about them because there's a reason that I want to work with them because I like them. I've got a lot of faith in them. I think it's very. You often see people fluttering from like brand to brand. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so in the van earlier, we were talking about how to outro these things, and you had a little
Oh, oh no,
your little trumpet. When George gets anxious, he has little
twitches,
and one he just goes into just jazz, and it just goes randomly. It's called the anxious trumpet. Well, I'm calling it the anxious trumpet.
Right, okay, so thanks for listening. We'll try and bring this out as regularly as possible. And that's it. So thank you, Rhys Whitehouse.
Thank you, George Pearson.